My
Yay!
brother.
All right, so we've got half. We're
Good to see
so
you.
far. Yeah, you as well, buddy. It's been this is interesting. Okay, I think we're almost there. If we can get this to just accept Vanessa into this, we'll be streaming.
We did it.
Yay! All right,
Of
how about
course,
that?
Adam fixed it, of course.
I think we just got lucky.
We did it. Oh my gosh, that was such an effort.
Welcome, everyone. Feel free to let us know where you're joining from.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
just, Vanessa, do you want to open the space and just give context to what we're talking about a little bit?
Yeah,
So
I'd
good
love
to see you
to.
both.
It's so good to see you too. It's so, I think a good place to start is just kind of like really bringing in the commitment and the level of respect I think we all have for just creating really beautiful opportunity for people to up level. And I
Mm,
think that's like one of the things that we've always shared in our friendship and in our experiences together is that we always find the opportunity to to become something more together. And
mhm,
that's what I feel like BFest really is, and why I'm so excited to have you be a part of it is that we all share that common bond of like how do we like improve the moment, like how do we get ourselves to open up more beautifully and be a bigger experience of ourselves and have a bigger experience of the world. And it's like if I were to make an event where we really that was the focus of the creation, that's BFest. And
mhm.
so yeah, that's why I'm so excited. I feel like it's so many years in the making to get us all to this point, and it's like it's a dream come true, really.
Awesome. Yeah, well, obviously, I feel very honored to be involved. I also feel now is this time where, that is what people are looking for. They're looking for an experience rather than just an attendance where you kind of like you don't really feel totally integrated in the experience. And you guys have been pioneers in many ways with that, with the way that you operate, so to speak, your businesses and your retreats and your experiences. And I guess the crossover is that, we are also, Ting, myself, and the band and the Samuel J team, we're really passionate about the quality of the experience and what it is we're contributing to, rather than just like the statistical, analysis or outreach. There's something because people that doesn't make people feel happy. That doesn't make people feel whole. That doesn't really give, a sense of upliftment, so to speak. So it's awesome that we've got through this quite dense time that we've all had different experience with over the last couple of years, whether you're in Africa or China or wherever you've, ridden the wave of the last year and a half. I think that one, you know, strong value that's come through for everyone from that is like the value of connection, because
Mhm.
and the value of, you know, comradeship, community, call it what you want, but we're stronger, aren't we, when we come together in support of the same vision, the same objective, rather than just trying to go at yourself the whole time. And that just takes a real subtlety of just an open invitation. And this festival is an open invitation for everyone, even if you can't come and attend. It's still, a sharing of information and, you know, an experience and a movement. It's part of a movement that's happening right now because we are all wanting to be well, call
Yeah.
it, you know. So
Or-
yeah, it's good to be here. Thanks for joining us, everyone around the globe. These live streams are always really interesting. Sometimes you never know. You never
It's,
know who's out there,
you
but
never know. Yeah. Well, you
how
never know
loves
who's out
Stacey
there, and
Harder.
and then we're also like, oh, why doesn't this thing work? You know, but this is like this is magic. You know what I mean? Like if you even step back 10 years ago,
Yeah.
5 years ago, this is like an unheard of thing. And so the fact that we're like, you know, they just expect it to function flawlessly, regardless of where we are in the world, is kind of funny.
Yeah, yeah. It's good.
We're
It's
rolling
good to
now. Yeah.
it's good to bring attention to that, you know, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of like stress associated with, let me tell you, like the live streaming for musicians, it's the same story across the board. It's like you
Yeah.
just like ramp up all this energy and you're like there and you're like, okay, this is the equivalent of me doing my set at like main stage at a festival. I have to bring it right now. And it's like being connected, being connected. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, there's some like
Buffer, you know?
warpy thing
Yeah.
happening, and you're just like, so yeah, we're learning how to use these platforms in the best way possible,
Yeah.
and you know, I quite like to get interactive with these live chats. I know we're in a small group right now, but just, you know, feel free to let us know, anyone in the audience, what it is that you like most excites you about going to an event. Is one of the things I wanted to ask. Like, what is the ultimate kind of fulfillment for you personally? Like when you're going to a concert or a retreat or a get together with friends. Like, what is it that really, really like, you know, kind of floats your boat, so to speak?
Mm-hmm.
No, I love that. I love making space for people to come into these chats because sometimes you feel like you're sort of just projecting at people and you're like, okay, how is it being felt or how is it being received? And it's so beautiful when people actually interact and share with
Yeah,
us,
and
you
we're all figuring out how to do this. This is very new. It's very new to like, so just my take on what you guys do is that instead of prioritizing just like sales and the amount of people that you can have, the amount that side of the model, you guys are saying like, okay, that's also important. You know, we need to be in abundance with what we do as professionals, but like really the priority in the hierarchical at the top is like, what is this going to contribute to? What is the person's experience? And I just think that is really in the conversations. You know, I get to travel a lot with my work, and that really is, it's happening now. It's a new thing. You know, it really is. It's like we're beginning to design events that are more focused around the experience and not the quantity, but like the quality. You know, and it's not going anywhere. It's like it's a building movement. You know, I feel that we're going to see more and more of those things. I hope, and especially with, you know, the consideration of the ethics involved with it. And I'd like to invite you guys to share a little bit about the sort of um, like the sort of value systems you guys have with this event, with the food and,
Mm-hmm.
you know, all of that, because you know, it's all integral part of it.
Yeah, it's, we were live with our chef yesterday, Chef Joanne, who we've worked with for almost 10 years now at retreats all around the country. And the lengths to which she goes to ensure that the food is farm to table and well sourced it's insane. I mean, and it's always been a really important part of our ethos is the food. Like, what is the actual nourishment of the event? And we made this reel the other day that was, kind of a joke because it was comparing regular festival food to beef festival food. And we were sort of joking about, the standard kind of festival experience when it comes to food is like, French fries and like, fried chicken or like, it's just kind of this standard fare that we've all accepted because we're like, oh, it's a festival. Even when they do, good high quality festival food, you're still sort of like, all right, what kinds of oils are they using? Or like, where did this stuff come from? And I don't think there's a festival out there that literally thinks of every single level of what is going into the food, from even just the energy of the chef and the team and like creating the menu and like every level of it is so deeply considered. And that is, I think one of the things about B-Fest that just sets it apart from any other event that I know
Mhm.
about is that it's not just like, oh yeah, there's healthy options.
Hmm.
It's literally every single meal is curated farm to table with the highest quality ingredients. And like, you know, if you're vegan or vegetarian or paleo or primal or like whatever your philosophy is, we consider it and we accommodate it and we make it so that you're in the lane of the highest quality for like what resonates with your ethos. And I think it's a really important thing for people to understand about BFest because it's I just don't know anyone else doing it. You know, it's
Mhm.
really, really so deeply considered. So, you know,
Yeah.
that's one level of it. And then obviously the other levels of it are really just this huge focus and emphasis on community and taking deep care of every single person. You know, Beef Fest is about 100-person event, so we call it like a boutique event or a boutique festival, or you know, we like to describe it as a wellness retreat with a festival vibe because it really is like wellness first,
Mhm.
layered with the energy of the festival, you know, the live performances and the fun and, you know, what you think of as a festival. But the undercurrent of wellness is the bedrock of it. You know, like in every moment, we're thinking about how is this nourishing you on all levels, physical, emotional, you know, nutrient wise. It's like
Mhm.
it's so curated for you to have a deeply nourishing experience. So I think that's what I love about this idea and about bringing this Bee Fest festival really to the forefront is like it's just different. It's different than anything else that people are doing out there. And like
I
you
think
said earlier,
it speaks to a lifestyle, you know, because
yeah,
there's a certain amount of, you know, uh, there's there can be quite a sort of like transactional experience with a festival, right? Where you go and you give all your energy and you leave
Yeah.
it feeling depleted. And I think, you know, this is really like a microcosm, you know, of just lifestyle. It's like you guys are identifying like some values and principles that are really important to carry if you want to, you know, step up to be the change you want to see in the world. And you know, what does that look like? And I think that at least with my own life, I'm trying to be more integrated rather than like I'm in ceremony when I'm sitting in a ceremony, or I'm exercising when I'm at the gym, or I'm like, you know, like doing my best music when I'm on stage. It's just integrating all that into your lifestyle, because it doesn't really make sense if you like live your life at 100 miles an hour and you're like not present, and then you like meditate for like 3 hours on a Friday to feel better, and then you go back to that cycle of just like, you
Yeah.
know. So I think these festivals are a conceptually are an opportunity to feel at a core level like what it is to experience like healthy
Hmm.
food, open communication, no competition, no like hierarchy of importance. We're always in these freaking social hierarchies where we're made to feel like I'm not important or I am important. And you know, it's a real art to actually, we have to really get over a lot of our own shit as people to be able to come together and just hold each other equally in a space. It's really easy to bring people down. You know, we're
mm-hmm.
witnessing that all over the world. I challenge you to spend a day and see how many people you can bring up and uplift. You know, it's our responsibility of people. So I always feel really hope filled, you know, when I'm part of events that really like focus on everyone just supporting each other. And it's wild how awesome what you can create uh, is when you're in that kind of mindset. So I think it's an experience for 5 6 days, right? 5 6 days.
Yes, Wednesday through Sunday, so it's like five
Yeah,
days.
five
Yeah.
6 days. But
Hmm.
really, it's like it's an opportunity to be inspired to continue in a certain lifestyle. You know, like
Yeah.
have that integration. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a huge piece of what we've tried to do with all of our events is really give people a taste of what it's actually like, what it's like what's a day in the life of this sort of thing, whether it's, you know, changing something about your nutrition or your exercise or, you
Mm.
know, your mindfulness practice, the community, whatever. It's really easy for us, I think, to kind of point to other people who have these sort of things nailed in their life, like, oh, well, it must be easy for that person because of X,
Yeah,
Y, or
yeah.
Z, you know? And so we really just try to create this environment where it's like, hey, look, you get to live this experience and see what is actually possible for you in a day. And frequently, like what we find is that people are, they find that it's actually easier, you know, that it's that not only is it possible, but it's less, you know, it's maybe less work, less effort, less time than they may have thought. And so, you know, you can couple all of the things that we've been talking about, the lifestyle component and the regenerative and restorative practices that we try to support with the food and everything that we bring, and then take all of that and put it just into the embrace of nature and let people really sink into what's there and available for them. And I mean, and this is why, like with B-Fest, we hold it in different locations. You know, and we've done the Redwoods, and there's a very special energy about that. And now we're doing it at Zion, and there's a very special energy there. And, you know, nature really gets to work its magic, you know? And
Yeah.
so we create this kind of container and invite the people and, you know, people like yourself who are just, you know, everybody that knows you knows, right? Like when you're around Samuel, you're around Samuel. It's a great place to be, whether that's just in conversation or whether that's listening to your music or, you know, whatever. It's uplifting. And so when we can sort of mix all of these things together and then just try to highlight for people, you know, because this is something too that I think happens, and you can go to some sort of transformational experience, whether it's a retreat or a festival or some combination of the two things, and you're like, wow, that was great. But sometimes you need somebody to point out like the aspects of it that you can take with you to make your life great, right? So it's like you can go and have an experience and leave like, you know, festivals are great and real life is not a festival, right? But if you can kind of integrate those individual pieces, it's like take this with you. Take Samuel. He's literally on Spotify. You know what I mean? Like take him with you, and it's going to remind you of these moments that, you know, and that's all it takes for us is to be brought back into these moments where we had, you know, an uplifting, up-leveling sort of alignment experience, you know?
I hear you. Yeah, absolutely. No, I hear you. I think it's a really relative conversation right now, and something that everyone's really figuring out together, which is the beauty of it. You know, there's a certain amount of privilege. You know, I've been able to travel the world for 20 years and have seen immense poverty. You know I feel a bit better after all of that, kind of how fortunate I am. And we, you know, we know we're fortunate. So it's, you know, it's when there's a financial, you know, entrance associated with these experiences, like you have to, you know, we can't constantly come up against this as curators. And you know, we're doing like a lot of the times we're performing, we're putting on events for free, and it's in the name of a cause. But I think ultimately one thing that needs to be really clear, because I've been interfacing with it a little bit, is that these events aren't for like any particular people. It's it really is open to everyone, and it would be more of the more demand there is for example, like healthy food, the more of a commodity that becomes. The only reason that healthy food is more expensive is because the systems that are in place currently are backwards. So we are literally like, the more that we support these this movement that's happening in the world, which is really very scientific. You can look at like the spiritual side of it if you care to, but there's a lot of science that really is forcing us to change our ways. You know, we have an unhealthy ecosystem, we have an unhealthy self. So I think in the long run, it's like almost, you could argue like it's a better insurance policy for your life to take care of your own wellness. And you think about the amount of like alcohol and like drugs and stuff that gets, you know, expenditure at these events, which is seen as a norm, you know, like same with pharmaceutical medicines. But it's like, yeah, it's like a re-collaboration that's happening right now of like, what is of real value to us, what is it's awesome to be creating in this field with you both and figuring it all out together, and uh, continuing to be really open to feedback, and not like you
Yeah.
were saying earlier, like, this is the way we're doing it. Sit there, feel these emotions.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's, you know, it's, we're already learning to hold space for whatever comes up. But one thing I will say is that every single time that I have done an event that is connected to the outdoors, connected to nature, if you like, but connected to being outdoors, you know, in some degree, has been just flooded with interest. And that's not entirely like us as a founding platform. It's actually like the current, you know, desire that people have, you know, like that's what we were kind of really interfaced with this last couple of years, especially, was, wow, like I feel safer, you know, in nature. And there's just so many things that separate us from just that simple thing of just being present and feeling, you know, fresh air in our lungs, and, you know, and that's where the unifying thing comes in, which is so great, which doesn't have a price, right? Which is,
Yeah.
we can all enjoy our breath. I mean, some people live an entire life and don't stop to enjoy a breath, you know? So it's like, it's bringing attention to those really like subtle gifts of life that are always there, but they're not if you're not present with them, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah,
So
it's interesting because someone was asking me about BFest, and they were like, you know, well, who's speaking and who's performing, and like who's the headliners, and you know, who's the stars of the show, kind of, you know. And I was explaining to them, I was like, you know, we have all these amazing teachers and coaches and presenters and musicians and all these wonderful people, but the real star of the show is Zion National Park, you know. And
yeah,
like I was like, that's the star. And so the first half of every day we're spending in the park, being in like reverence of this beautiful, iconic, natural wonder, you know, in the world. And like I think that that's just something that we keep trying to help people understand, is that we want to collaborate with nature first. Like, where can we go as a, you know, a clan, a group, a tribe, whatever you want to call, and like pay homage to this beautiful planet we live on first. And
together,
then,
like, and also get to pay homage, like, because
Yeah.
like I feel like as an attendee, right? So I'm obviously usually going to an event to perform, right? So it's really good for me to go to an event and not perform, because I'm like, what do I want to co-create with here, you know? And I think that's, you know, that's one of the things, is it's like, oh, here's an opportunity for me to like be with a group of other people, and, you know, hold each other up and talk about, you know, it's just simple little things like that. With our experience, you know, we have an event called Bloom, right? And you've got all walks of social, different, you know, whatever. I don't like to categorize people, so I steer away from it. But if you were to do a synopsis of it, there's, you know, business folk, there are, you know, conservationists, there are people in investment. Hi, Guy, how's it going? Being visited by the little insects here. Anyway, and you've got this really awesome, like, coming together of, like, it's almost like a cross section of, you know, society. You get on that bus in London, and there's, like, you know, beautiful people from Iran, and like different branches of Muslim, and, you know, we really welcome that in, because at the end of the day, we're like sharing the world currently, and you can learn something from everyone. So at festivals, there are like stages where you can go to, but there are all these like people, you know, around us all the time, you know, not just at festivals, but around us all the time, that we can learn from. And I think that's another subtlety that you can create, you know, when doing an event.
Yeah.
Just welcome someone to the space. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. We really appreciate your presence. We couldn't be here. We're doing this without you. Sit wherever you like. You know what I mean? And it's like, how many times am I being really well paid, or like there's some like status-y type glaze on a show, and you turn up to play, no welcoming, no thought of like when to play the music, or it's just like, oh yeah, you just go, you know. And it's just like, and you're just talking over everyone, like eating, and it's like artists don't enjoy that experience. No one in the room gets to really like receive what is actually being shared. It's literally like everyone, okay, someone's about to talk, they've been working on something for a while and they're about to stand on stage and present something, everybody hum. Like, it's just like, that's what the circles were for, right? You saw it in Celtic tradition, it doesn't matter, like Native American, Aboriginal, they all had circles. And it carried on in England until like the town hall, you know, which was only a few hundred years ago, where everyone would go to the town hall and be like, yeah, excuse me, yeah, my boat's got stuck, whatever it was that you wanted to have help with, and you would receive that from your community. Where has that gone? Like, where has that gone? Where is the opportunity for me to speak? We're speaking so internationally and all over the place, but that conversation still needs to take place, right? Like, come together with
more
that.
so, you know, I would say probably more so now than ever, you know, the all, like we were talking about in the beginning, you know, the sheer magic of being able to do an Instagram live, you know, access to that sort of communication. And we think about just text messages, right? And like how many ways can we communicate with each other that is not actually picking up this phone and speaking to each other, or God forbid, like seeing you in person and talking, you know. And the convenience, you know, we're at the end of the day, we're creatures of habit, but we're also creatures of convenience. And so like whatever the easy thing is what we sort of naturally gravitate to. And so I think that we have to actually put forth effort to maintain these real, actual human connections. And I think that we probably, if we may not have even realized how beneficial, you know, these circles were or are to us, you know, and we do this frequently just with our dinners, right? Like at all of our retreats, it's everybody's together, everybody eats together. It's that communal breaking of the bread, or not bread if you're, you know, not into that. You know, breaking of the snap peas, you know, like whatever you're into. You know, and that stuff is very, very, very important. It's such a, it's like, you know, it feeds the soul, right? Like that sitting and coming together for something like that really feeds the soul. And
it's welcoming. It's welcoming. It's basic welcoming. You know, if you think about like fundamental, I guess, like, I don't want to say the word problems, but problems that we face today are from disconnection, which is from uninclusion. It's like non-inclusive, right? You're not included. We all hate that. Who likes to not be included? Like not being included, and it's like, so like bringing that at the forefront of the experiences you guys do, you're gonna find a lot of people like, yo, I wanna feel included in something, and that's why we're seeing, like me and Vanessa were talking the other day, like there are so many spikes happening with these types of gatherings. Call it what you want. You could get 5 people over to a house. The way that you are interacting, the way we listen to each other, you know, it all creates the overall kind of experience and who we are as people. So it's really, really awesome to be, you know, having these conversations. No one's got it all figured out. There's no point like having a platform that's like, we are the ideology of, you know, how to do this, because the reality is that there's tons of trips and falls on the path to us coming back into balance. You know, we've got so far out of balance, and it's really good moment to have patience and compassion more than ever for each other, because we're all fondling around trying to find, you know, how to do that with integrity, how to show up, you know, as friends, and show up as, and I just want to say as a total sort of credit to you guys, I would say that like one of the really powerful pieces that you both hold as people, and thus hold in the foundation of your platform, is this sort of like stepping forward to claim responsibility for the way you feel and your health, rather than like, oh, I have a condition,
Yeah.
I need someone to fix me. Like I've always really, really resonated, just at anyone tuning in for the first time to know a bit more about Be the Wellness and what these wonderful people do. It's really like they devise these wonderful programs that people follow that really like just remind people how to get back into their own wellness and their own health without having to take drugs or have tons and tons of sessions with it's daily practices, right? Like daily practices, the way we move our bodies, what we're giving our attention to, what stress and emotion we're holding on to, like all these tools, right, that were really absent when we were children, through school, through college, like work hard, get more, but it was like, well, hold on a minute, like how do I take care of my health? At least I didn't, I had an awesome sister and I have a great family that gave me some pointers, but there were a lot of conversations that were absent, right? And I think that youth around the world are claiming that right now. A lot of the kids that I work and teach with, they're like, hey, how do we deal with this stress? Like how do we manage our own stress? So these are the kind of conversations if you are that are gonna be coming up more and more at this experience, but also these are the kind of issues that I feel like your experience are actually for the long run helping people to like overcome and like to really integrate, because we've all been injured here. I'm sure everyone out there has had a challenge with their body, and I'm sure everyone out there has had the feeling of feeling emotionally stressed. Right? It's especially this last year. So it's like, where are the conversations about how we support each other to get back to a place of balance? And it's a conversation. It's not a dictation. It's not like, it's like, for example, even just on this chat right now, like Vanessa holds a really deep key with like stress level management and more like a deeper, more profound connection to where those energies might be coming into your life and figuring that out. Adam's like really good with the physical, like which exercises and how to, all of it. And it's like, I can bring people some peace through my music. I mean, we all hold these different gifts. And, let this festival be the opportunity for everyone that's coming to like express those gifts, and everyone that's there gets to experience that and leave feeling fully empowered and,
Well, I mean, it's, oh, go ahead, Adam.
To say the, and the thing that I think, like the message that I really want to like try to get out is that, I think for some people this is probably obvious, so sorry, but for me, it took a minute to get. And that is that we're not going to accidentally find this balance. We're not going to get back to the levels of connection and understanding of our fellow people that we had prior to this massive separation. We have to actually do it. It's not just going to accidentally come apart. You can just see the level of conditioning that we have as a society already, that no, well, I'm not so sure whether it's safe to just hug someone, right? Like, I don't know, right? And so that stuff has been conditioned into us in the last couple of years, and not for some malicious, weird reason or anything, but that's just the reality of it. And we have to take a step. Like, we have to actually take action to get back to where we were before, and then hopefully even to a better place with it, And so I think that, my sort of call to this is like, you just need to do it. You need to come, you need to take a step to make this better for yourself, because it's not going to just happen, Yeah.
Absolutely. Well said.
Yeah.
I think, just one thing I'd love to just iterate on to what you were talking about, Samuel, is this, like, what we've always strived to create at Be the Wellness in the community is really just that. It's like, we never wanted to be talking heads, just talking at people, like, do this is how you should do it. And how many festivals have we been to, or how many events have we been to where it's us and them, right? It's the presenters and the people that are the figureheads of the event just basically shouting at the audience, like, this is what you should do, this is what you should think, this is what, and it's like, that is, I think, something I really want people to understand about Be the Wellness is that like the attendee, the person coming to be a part of it is equally as important to us as the person performing on stage or the coach teaching a new movement or, you know, whatever's going on.
Yeah,
Like
it's a subtlety.
yeah, and it's
The
a
subtlety.
reciprocal energy. It's a really important to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the same subtlety. You know, the micro of that is like, how do you greet someone that you meet? You know, like how you greet someone that you like. How like you get in an Uber. It's like there's almost that like oh there's almost like a non-human sort of like
Yeah.
experience where this person is like, it's like, okay, I'm paying this guy money to, you know, help me to get from A to B, but like he's a human being, so
Mhm.
I still will say hello, thank you for driving me. You know, it's that,
Mhm.
it's just a subtlety. It's such a
Yep.
subtlety. And then you put on an event and it's like, you know, I've been in those situations where it's like people are just crushing numbers and just like, how are we going to cover this? How are we going to cover that? And it's like the fact you guys are having this much focus on concern for, you know, the experience this far out is really setting new parameters. It's awesome. And you know, Vanessa, you did say, you know, you haven't seen other festivals that are, you know, and it is unique what you guys are doing. I do think though in a way that they're just, whew, there are just so many, like I was just in France, right? And then, you know, in the UK and there, and even in, you know, this conversation, at least whether people are like fully achieving the full integration of like having all these, you know, uh, principles fully integrated in the action of what the festival is with the food and everything is another concept. But there's definitely a lot of people stepping forward to do that, and I think it's
Mhm.
coming with like, you know, this demand, you know. And it's
Yeah.
kind of interesting, if I may, because if you look right here, like I'm in Costa Rica, right? So this wilderness, what you're looking at right there is like literally hundreds of miles of palm oil plantations,
Hmm.
right? That are all down here on the Dominican coast. Now, that land in itself is economically is practically worthless,
Yeah.
whereas this forest up here is now where it's being valued. You know, this pristine forest, for the first time is like having a major shift, right? So this is what's happening with a lot of these like ecosystems, is that they're being reprioritized by governments because of their actual worth, and what
Yeah.
gives them their worth is people's interest in their preservation.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
So,
exactly right. Yeah.
so when you have interest, maybe like, oh shit, I can't attend that or I can't afford to do that. It's we don't all need to be paying money out to have experiences to make an impact in the world. We simply just have to like have an interest and integrate that into our actions and into what is a preservation to both yourself and also the, you know, the very thing that we're a part of, which is nature. It really is it's a massive time for that. We've never seen such polarities, right? Like there's
Mhm.
never been so many people right now out in the ocean trying to protect species ever. It's the largest amount of active conservationists ever to set sail, to be out on the water, to be on the Coast Guard, to be looking out. But it's also, we've never had such a high in black trade, black market
Mhm.
trade, uh, you know, exploitation of wildlife. So
Mhm.
we're in this colossal time where all these things are playing out, and it's like I almost feel like for as deep as the wound goes, it's like the healing has to come in that extra bit more. So like
Yeah.
Yeah.
just I feel hopeless sometimes. I feel like we all do, man. It's natural. It's so crushing to see the extent of devastation at times, but we are, my hope by itself is like, yeah, and then my hope with like a whole group of people feels really good, and it's like, oh, other people care about this. It's like, we all care about this. It's like
Thank
everybody,
God.
like this is important to everyone. This is important to everybody. Like none of us have our lives without this,
Mhm.
without this, you know, like consideration of you know, the natural world. So it's just, it's a good thing to be doing, but it's actually what we have to do.
Uh-huh.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, and like you said earlier, it's so confusing because sometimes you just feel overwhelmed. You're like, well, what do I do? Like, how do
Yeah.
I make a difference? And and we're all grappling with these questions. But like you said, just taking an interest, just showing up to the spaces and places where people are talking about this and they're making an effort and they're trying to do something. I mean, that in of itself is the
Yeah.
action.
How are you inviting people to have that conversation, and understand more about what people can do, like at Be the Wellness? Just to throw a tricky little question out.
Mhm.
No, it's true. I mean, I think for us, the crux of what we've always stood for is like
Mm.
this community connection, right?
Yeah.
Because what we found is that when you really come together powerfully in community, you start interweaving and intermixing your ideology and your ideas and your inspiration, and then you find others that have that inspiration, and then suddenly you find someone that wants to work on that project with you or do that thing with you or kind of spearhead that, in that direction of what your passion is. And so for us, it feels like Be the Wellness has always been this really beautiful incubator in a way. So
Hmm.
it's not like, okay, come to Be Fest or come to a Be the Wellness event, and these are the three things we're going to focus on and solve. It's like,
Yeah.
let's all bring our innate gifts, our
Yeah.
innate
Yeah.
curiosities, and
Yeah.
then see like what can we create together, and like let that energy take us all into the different veins. And I think that's for us, it's just more natural than trying to put a container on it and be like, this is what we're going to do and this is how it's going to be.
Right, right, right. Interesting. Yeah, because I was going to ask, because you know, I've worked with both. I've worked with you know, crew, like curators that come into event spaces and really try and like actually intentionalize that, like, you know, they'll set circles up where they'll bring 5 people together at one
Mhm.
time and say, hey, you know, why don't you guys share what feels really alive to you, for example, at the moment, or
Hmm.
maybe we don't need to make it that intentional. That what you're saying is that's just going to naturally happen just from
Yeah.
being in the space. It's maybe a bit too much to.
Well, and I think that when you come together with really beautiful intention and like a curiosity of how you can be different, like you can
Yeah.
come into this event as one person and leave with maybe a new spark or a new direction or a new idea of how to approach a project or do something like, there's so much power in just anchoring that into people, anchoring those frequencies of possibility back
Totally.
into the human experience. And I think that that's something, we've been doing retreats and wellness events for 10 years. And
Yeah.
that's like the magic secret sauce that we have noticed we have like an affinity for creating, is that people leave it going, I want to do something better. I want to do something different. I want to make a contribution in an important way.
Yeah.
And that is just
Yeah, it's
really,
really
really
important.
important to us to hold that space for people.
I remember playing, I played one show at the Greek Theater. We were opening for Damian Marley years ago. And this woman that I had invited, you know, she was kind of in the entertainment industry, but she came and she said that, like, I didn't have an opportunity to speak.
Mm.
Like, I just came to the whole concert. I didn't have an opportunity to, like, connect with anyone. I had to, like, sit there and be like, am I allowed to move? You know? And it's like my seat is like number like C3. It's like, and you have that like, do you mind if I just, you know, and you like put your hand for a second on like C4, like it's just like, you know what I mean? Like on there's that really, yo, in Greek theater, you crush it. I love you.
Yeah.
If anyone is out there connected to that, but for real, it's like it's just you know, it's the full balance is what we're looking at, right? Like as
Yeah.
curators, you know, like it
Yeah.
sometimes feels a bit awkward for me when I go to places and people are like circle up. It feels a bit forced to be like, you know, share your heart, and it's like,
Yeah.
uh, I, I will.
Yeah, I don't want to.
I can and I will, but I'm
Give me
not
a
like a
second.
cake machine. It's like
Yeah.
go.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's very much me, it's like I don't want anybody to tell me what to do, especially when it comes to like, something like, okay, share your emotions. I'm like, no, that's not how this works. Like I'm not gonna do that. But one of the things that I'm really excited about with BFest is bringing the human design element into this. We have an excellent person in Erin Claire Jones who's coming to talk to people about their human design and kind of help people maybe understand.
Oh, I think, oh, there
Back.
it goes. Yeah.
Sorry. To help
I'm back.
understand the
Yeah.
human design.
So there should we be talking about that, so helping people understand how best they can actually communicate in these ways, right? Because each of us is going to be a little bit different, and if you can understand a little bit about yourself and what makes you open up and what makes you close off, you can have a really solid you can create a space that you can be open and communicative in, and that's it's going to be a really nice add to this overall experience to get people
That's
kind of on
awesome.
the page. Because one of the things, and we talk about food a lot, right? Because that's a big part of what we do, but the sustainability aspect of that and what we're trying to show people, right? Like we've done this through Be the Wellness and our coaching practices and all of this stuff, that it's possible to do these things. It's possible to eat very well, to do it in a mindful and sustainable way at home for yourself, for the people around you, right? And to cook these meals. And with these events, we really want to be able to show that it's possible at a larger scale, because at the end of the day, every person and household can make this massive shift. But if the institutional feeding, if the commercial kitchens, if the festivals of the world, if the hotels and resorts of the world can't get on board with what we're doing from a sustainability perspective, it's going to leave a really big gap in the overall market, and it's like what you were talking about before. That's what we need. The reason that it's more expensive to eat these ways is because the market is dramatically smaller.
Yeah.
So if we grow that market and we make it, this is what we demand as citizens of the world, is this quality food, then it'll change.
And
It has to.
it's pioneering. I mean, we our friends, that own Cafe Gratitude, and they're economically some of the most successful, Erewhon in LA.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
it feels exclusive still. Like I hear you, like I know that people are like on me for that stuff a lot recently, and it's like I understand that a lot of that, uh, again, it's just so awesome that you guys are giving it this much thought, and I think it's not just events that want to be seeming more healthy. It's just because of this big movement that we've been talking about today. I just want to say real quick, thank you guys so much for tuning in and sending us your little love bubbles. We so appreciate you. I'm here speaking with the founders of Be the Wellness. They're pioneering their brand new festival this year, goes out into the world, and it's going to be an absolute legendary experience for anyone that comes. It's going to take place in May, and we just wanted to give a bit more insight into what's really behind the backbone of this experience. And I'm obviously really honored to be performing. So is our good friend Parangi, and there's also just such a big focus on wellness at this event. So if you are coming, there's just it's an educational experience, as well as supporting oneself by coming. Really, it's kind of it feels like I'm gonna get a gift by going to this experience. So really excited for it.
It's so cool too, because I think people out there maybe don't realize this, but the performers, yourself and Ting and Parangi and everyone's staying for the entirety of the event. Like
Oh, cool.
it's like a familial experience. So
Yeah, that's special.
it's
That's
really
special.
special. So it's like, you might see Samuel J performing and then be hiking with him in Zion the next day, or, canyoneering with Parangi. And it's like, we want this to be a really inclusive experience where like we are deeply together.
I think that was one of the things that I worked with Wanderlust for 4 years, and that was one of the things. 1111, everyone, to whoever that has
Yes, yes.
whoever that has significance. Um, so yeah, it's so interesting at Wanderlust because I've watched this absolutely epic set from this brother that plays the cello, and damn, his name eludes me for a second. I'll be back with that. Uh, I was just blown away, right? Like live looping, just phenomenal set. Everyone's up in arms about it. And the next day, he's like Pied Piper, like he's like taking everyone for a hike through the like up in Whistler, and everyone's following the cellist, And it was just like it was equally as profound to hear that little set and just have a conversation and chill, as it was with the big stage. And I think what we start recognizing is it's not the bedazzle that makes the impact. It's the heart in something, right? And the heart in all of us can be shared without being on stage. It can be shared just, as you said, on a hike. And I'm so stoked you guys are doing it where you're doing it, because that place is magical.
Magical. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was always the idea with B-Fest, is like, let's take people to the portals, like the beautiful energy portals on planet
Yeah.
Earth, and have that energy holding the structure of the event. And you're like,
That's where you're winning. That's where you've already won. We've all already won. Like when it's like that, we all go through that thing where it's like, should I go for a walk? Should I not go for a walk? When do you ever go for a walk and feel worse after
and
going
regret
for a
it.
walk?
Yeah.
Ever. It never happens. You just feel better because it's a good thing to be doing. So I love where you're at with that. I think that's gonna take a lot of weight off your shoulders, right? It's like
It's
it really
just,
is.
and it's just like, why not? Why not as a community go to these epic portal energy spaces and just go, all right, fill me up, like, fill the cup, and then everything else that happens, like you said, is just a bonus. You're winning by just simply being in that energy field.
I'm gonna put you on the spot here, because I got some friends in the room that I feel like. So my language is obviously, like, I'm from Cornwall, so people don't understand me at the best of times. But like, I think I have my understanding. I'm sure Adam has his understanding. What is your understanding when you say? It's just curious. It's kind of new vocabulary for all of us that we're using. But when you say, like, to take people to these portals, so like, because no, because I got you, and I feel like I've been to many places that are like a portal. What is that? What is that actually like? What does that mean? What does it feel like? What makes somewhere a portal?
No, I love this
it
question.
transports you, right? Like it's a transportation.
Yeah, I feel like there, just in a personal way, that portal to me just means that, like, there is a convergence of the natural environment, like the weather, the elementals, like what's happening just on an elemental level, that as you approach that place, as you just literally put yourself logistically in the lane of that location, you up level, like your energy field just feels better.
Okay, cool, interesting. I'm glad I asked you. I like that definition.
Yeah,
and
it's
a
like,
place that does that is a portal.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm sure there's other definitions where it's like, well, actually it's a portal to another galaxy, and if you just like, tune your antenna, you like can have downloads from the Pleiadians or whatever. It's like, I'm sure there's lots of ways to think of it, but for me, it's just when you're being held in the energy field of that space, you just feel better. Like it's like, the cellular structure of your body is just turned up and illuminated a little bit,
Yeah, interesting, because there was a discussion that I was present to recently with some geologists that were really, really, experienced in their line of field, right? They've been studying these sacred sites all over the world. And they lit up when they heard that I was from Cornwall, and they were like, "Oh, Cornwall is a portal." And I was like, amazing.
Oh.
And then they were like, and I knew it was special. But anyway, but what actually in their geological understanding was that it is on an alignment with these other places, right? Like, and if you were to investigate like Salisbury, which is Samsara, and all these old sites, they're all places where even today everyone says, wow, there's something special here. There's something special, so like you can go to a place and have that individual experience, but when so many people, and it's obvious when you go to the Grand Canyon, like what it is that is creating that, but some of these sites are a little more subtle. You're not left with these like phenomenal views and stuff. It's kind of like South Wales. It's just there's this like a kind of energy, and it's just it's interesting because it's something that I've been like educating myself on, because it's really fascinating when you look at like the ley lines of the world, and how people feel in different environments. And the pandemic hit in fucking New York City, just like everyone left and went, and all these, and even Hollywood, right, supposedly has been built right on one of these very magnetic lines. But nonetheless, great call with Zion.
Point is, Zion is.
I brought it back. I went out there.
Wrong word.
I went out there.
Our guests
And
here are going to be at B-Fest with us. So if you guys are if you're attending B-Fest and you're watching, just maybe pop in the chat what you're most excited about. Of course, Samuel J. first and foremost, but what else are you excited about?
I won't be doing a workshop on portals.
Or maybe you will. So I think it's actually, we were saying earlier when we went live, do you remember, Adam, when we were in Costa Rica and we had a group there, and speaking of portals, we were getting ready to take everybody whitewater rafting, and we looked up and there's San Jose.
Yeah, like just across the street, and we're in Dominical.
I was camping out for 3 days, hoping that they would just see me for the opportunity to be taken whitewater rafting, but unfortunately it just didn't happen. But I hope to be chosen to go in the future. But it's actually so funny though, because like that moment is kind of like indicative of our friendship as a general concept. Like, we're in it for life, whether you like it or not. We're in it for life. Exactly. It's like we just run into each other all over the world. It's like, oh, and there he is. Well, bless you guys. That feels like a really good. Does that feel complete to you all?
Yes, absolutely.
Is there anything else you wanted to share? We're so happy to all of those of you that have stayed with us. I don't know if anyone stayed through the whole time. If you have, you deserve a medal. You can just, And I won't give away a free ticket. It's not my place to do it. But so you guys, thank you so much for being here with us as we talk about these really interesting conversations about how we can best show up and support ourselves, each other, and what that looks like in an event space. Like, what does the kind of best event experience look like? And you're on a live with 2 individuals that are really dedicated to that. I mean, 3, but Adam and Vanessa that are curating this particular festival. So anyone that has any more interest about it, they can just click in it's the link in your Be the Wellness Instagram right now, isn't it?
I'm sure.
Yep. That's the one.
Awesome.
And just have to read this little comment from Jess Gray. She's most excited to connect with strangers, see people's faces, and this new workshop on portals.
Oh, yeah.
So there you go.
That's awesome.
Now the pressure's on. The portal workshop must happen.
What? Did I just sign up for that without even...
You just invented it.
There you go. It's ironic, isn't it? Because it's like, I often find that, like, as far as content that gets the most amount of visibility, it's always like there's like comical little ideas you have is that actually the truth is that would probably be a viral song,
For sure.
you know. Like, so if I quit, you know, 12 hours of work currently that I'm doing a day to engineer and mix and work with the team on the album and just did Portal workshops, ease and grace.
Yeah. If you could do Portal workshops on TikTok, I think you'd be in.
See, there it goes again. You just know that would actually go. See, you can feel it. It would just pop off. Anyway, it's 3 more years for me and just crunching until I'm going to start my own comedy channel, I think.
Oh, you guys,
I'll be
wait for
excited about
that.
that.
There's been too many. We're going to do a alternative comedy style. It's inspired by like, just, I don't know if this is relative to talk about anymore. I'm just going to go for it.
Yeah.
We went to Hawaii and there was a couple that were walking to the waterfall, and I stopped because I saw that they were cleaning their feet, and I was like, are you guys okay? Did you get like stung by something? And of course they were just like, they take a step and they would get like the earth on their foot, and then they would get a baby wipe out and like clean the bottom of the foot, and then step again and be like, oh man, I've got more. I'm like, each to their own, like each to their own, but just FYI, like this stuff isn't that bad for you. And I just like, if I don't, someone has to, it was so funny. And just, there's so many, we got to laugh at all the things. Most importantly, laugh at ourselves. And, you know, that's where we're pretty good at doing that with each other, this friend group right here. But
Yes.
anyway, I want to send my love and blessings to both of you. Thank you for having me, Adam.
Good
to see you, brother. And yeah, I don't know if you want to summarize or anything, but it's really grateful to be here.
I just want to say, you know, we love you so much. It's just such a deep honor to have this friendship that we've had over these years, and to just stand for each other in so many different ways. And this is just another opportunity we get to stand together and have a beautiful experience. And I'm just,
I'm excited to bring the best set ever, honestly.
Yeah, I can't wait.
I mean, there's that aspect too. Yeah, I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, there's the music. That's true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really excited about that.
Well, and for those of you who haven't had the opportunity to see Samuel J. live, I remember we were at one of your performances. I can't remember where it was because we've had the good fortune to see you perform many times live. But I remember our good friend Liz Bitts was sitting next to me, and she was like, wow, I think Samuel J. is truly one of the most gifted performers I've ever seen. Like, you're just so incredibly gifted. And, you know, in the Kundalini teachings, they talk about, you know, the energy of the Saraswati, or like the energy of the music, like it runs through you. It is who you are. And to be in actual communication with that at a live experience, it changes you. It imprints in you in such a special way. And so I'm so excited for people to have.
Thanks for the reminder. And that's what, no, it's true. That's what it's all about. It's like reflecting that back to each other. And yes, I continue to do my part, and really stoked to be, you know, co-creating with you guys finally with something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Satnam, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you, Samuel J.
Yeah. Blessings, everyone. Be well. Take care. Peace.
Bye.